Okay, YouTube, I wanted to make an update video to a disassembly process that I do. There was a comment on one of my videos about how this process looks more complicated or difficult, and I wanted to demonstrate the process done the traditional way and the way that I do it, and hopefully that will shed some light on the differences. And yeah, so let's just get started. I'm going to do the traditional way first, and we'll just make sure that this firearm is clear, which it appears to be. Okay, traditional way first. Not terribly difficult, but you get the little parts and stuff floating around, and it can be just a little pet peeve, I suppose. I don't like loose parts moving around while I'm trying to disassemble the gun, just kind of moving back and forth, like the spring and guide rod just kind of floating back and forth in the channel. I may be autistic, I don't know. But everybody's special, right? So the reassembly process, I will do still the traditional way. Get this spring and guide rod back in here. Move the barrel link into the right position. Now, note that this will move freely in the channel once the slide is on the rail cover, or the rail cover is covering up the channel, I should say. I won't have any control over where this goes until the spring plug is back on the slide. And the reason why that can be a problem is if this moves forward, the barrel link could move. If you're pointing the pistol down and it happens to get shook, if it gets shook, like me when I read comments about how this is difficult, I get shook. If it's moved out of position and the slide is on here, and I'll go ahead and slide it on so you can sort of see how this would be a problem. Well, wouldn't you look at that? You gotta shake it around, or you gotta take the slide back off, and you gotta move that barrel link into the right position and hope that it stays in the right position so the slide stop pin can go back in correctly. And again, it's not that big of a deal. You might just have to go back and forth with it a couple times, or maybe you found a way to specifically hold your slide so that never ever happens. But my experience with doing it that way, and I have done it that way for many years, is that it's not consistent. So in any case, that gets everything back in there. The other thing you have to be concerned about is the spring plug launching across the room if you don't have this properly staged on the ledge. Of course, you can always do it in one swoop, just like that. It's not too difficult. Depends on the tension of your spring. If you've got wolf springs in there, it might be very difficult. But this is just standard GI spring in here, so it's pretty easy. Doesn't have a lot of weight behind it. But you could have it launched into your face if you're not wearing protective eyewear, which I never do when I disassemble a gun. You could hit yourself in the eye, and that would be very painful. Or if you're pointing it away from you and you're not staged properly here, it could launch across the room, and you may have trouble finding it if you don't see exactly where it landed. So in any case, there it is, fully reassembled in standard reassembly method. We'll do it again, but following my method, which isn't my method, but it is a method that is an alternative. There are other folks who do this as well. there's that. Now putting it back together, I'll usually leave the barrel out of battery. Barrel bushing on. Spring plug in. Then I will put it in battery. Then I will insert the spring. And I did this kind of backwards, so I might do that again here in a moment to kind of demonstrate how I would normally do that. I don't know why I did it backwards. Because I'm special. Okay, we'll do that again, just for kicks. I quickly use my index finger to capture that spring. So not difficult. It's not under a lot of pressure moving outward, you know, this way. It's easy. Once you have your hand on it, it's not going anywhere. It's not like you're pushing on it and like, oh gosh, if my hand strength isn't that great, the spring's going to go flying. It's very much more a technique than a strength thing. I definitely have seen people struggle, and there's a technique to doing the standard reassembly process as well, but I've definitely seen people with less hand strength or less wrist strength, whatever, when they're reassembling, having trouble getting that spring down, especially if they've got, you know, a heavier weight spring in there. There I go, dropping shit. I don't want to do this a third time, so I'm just going to kind of quickly do this one, and then I'll be done. Barrel length back. I'm always prepared with my thumb on the return for that. There's the barrel link, and right now you see that barrel link it's pushed up against that guide rod. It's not going anywhere. The only way it can go is back that way. As long as I keep the slide pointed in a mostly downward position and I don't, you know, launch my hand this way, why would I be doing that? It's going to stay where I want it to. And that goes in, and just a little bit more. And there it is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If this is the kind of content that you like, please like this video and subscribe and all that good noise. If you don't, then well, I don't care. Ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Have a good one.